Hello all, welcome to this tutorial on Jupyter Notebooks. In this tutorial, I'd like to give you an overview of Jupyter Notebook and just introduce you to this interface. Okay, and typically you would open Jupyter Notebooks using the Anaconda Navigator, the software you installed as an option for you to open Jupyter Notebook. Here I'm going to open it in a different way, especially useful if some of you have difficulty opening Navigator, the Anaconda Navigator. So I'm actually going to open the Mac terminal. You may have a similar equivalent like a DOS terminal on Windows. So once the terminal opens on the Mac, I just type in Jupyter Notebook. It's as simple as that in terms of starting this application. So I press type and you see things happening in the background, and the initial screen, the initial dashboard of Jupyter Notebook just opened on the Chrome browser. Okay. Just note that when this is while you have access to this dashboard, which is like a front end that lets you run Python, the terminal is still running on the background, right? And you notice that there are a lot of things that have happened after I typed in Jupyter Notebooks. Okay, so you do not want to close this. You don't want to close this. Okay, I minimize it. I leave it running in the background. Okay, now I have this dashboard open. From the dashboard, this is right here. You see that you have the facility to create a new Python file. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to a different folder. If I just create a new file here, it's going to put everything on the home page. I don't want to work on the home page, so I basically have created a folder further down. Instead of just at the home screen, I've created a folder all the way down in a subfolder. Okay, so all my files are right here. So note that I'm going to be working from here. If you want, you can choose to work from the home screen, which is where we were earlier. You can create a folder here and then click on the folder, and then you can go in there, start creating new files. Okay, in my case, I prefer to be further away, closer to where I put all my programming files. Okay, just want to mention here that I'm also going to be linking you to a page that gives you more information on Jupyter Notebook. Okay, now coming back to the dashboard, I'm still at the dashboard. If you want to create a new file, you can create a new Python file, and this is what you should do because you probably do not have anything right now. But since I've created the files, I'm going to go into my folder and I'm going to open a file I've already created for you, Jupyter intro. Okay, and by the way, this file is already available for you to download. Okay, if you download this file from the course website, all you need to do is make sure that this file is included in the right folder, and you should be able to open it just like I did. Okay, so Jupyter Notebook is basically a front end that consists of self-contained cells. Okay, it's a notebook with different sorts of cells, and this would be a cell, this would be a cell, and in fact this also is a cell. They look different because what you see here, this is basically a markdown cell. You can see on the top here in the middle, markdown cell, and the second cell, actually the third cell, because the first cell is a heading, some text, and now you see that it's a code cell. Okay, for our class we'll be using the markdown cell. Right here, the first two cells are marked down. The third cell is a code cell, and we'll be mostly using the code cell. Okay, so basically we'll be running different chunks of code in the same notebook with a similar theme. Okay, this way you have this information to review for the exam. Okay, all right, so now what can I do? How do I run a code on Jupyter Notebook? Again, remember, we haven't done any programming yet. I'm just showing you the basics of Jupyter Notebook. If you type in some code, in this case I've typed in the simplest of all possible codes, a print statement. Print, open parenthesis, close parenthesis. Okay, and if this is a text, I put them in quotes. Okay, and I want to run this. There are two ways of running this code. Okay, I can either press the run button here, run cell, right? I can press that button and run this, or I can use a shortcut, which I find quite useful. Press Shift and Enter to run the code. Okay. The second thing that you need to know is using tab. Okay. The second cell talks about using tab to pop up methods of an object. Okay. Now we are newcomers to programming. We don't know what an object is. All I want to tell you at this point is that the tab is a very useful shortcut to know. Okay. What I mean by that, let me show it to you using an example in the next two cells. Okay. Now, if you have a moment, pause this video and see if you can run this cell. If you type this in, see if you can run this cell. Okay. I'm going to be using a button to run the cell, and if you ran it, it should print whatever is inside this code. And again, note that I can use a single quote, right, to print. I can also use a double quote. Okay. Now, let's go to the example here. So here I have a string that consists of some alphabets. In this case, hello, right? I'm assigning this to a variable called s. Okay, and again, we don't know what a variable is. We're going to talk about it in a few minutes in the next module. Okay, I'm assigning this and I'm saying print s. So instead of printing hello directly, I'm assigning it to a variable, right? It's like giving a name to something. Okay, and I'm saying print s. In this case, note that you don't have to put quotes in s because it's a variable. It's not text. Okay, it has a value. It has a textual value. Okay, has hello as its value. So let me run this by pressing Shift Enter, and it basically prints the value of s. Okay. Now in Python, this actually means something. Let's say that you want to write a code that converts this hello into uppercase letters. Okay. So what I might want to do is create a new variable, capital S, right? Or you can call it anything else, S1, S2, doesn't matter. Okay. And I'm assigning this to the uppercase letters of s, the small s, right? So if s is the variable that has the value hello, right, I can put down s, which already has a value. Okay, for convenience, I'm going to erase this. It's already here, right? Press tab. It's going to give you all the possible things that you can do with this variable. Okay, so when I said object in general, if you notice up here, I said pop up the methods of an object. So in this case, this variable happens to be an object. We assigned it a value. Okay, it's a string type. It's textual values, and it says that given that I have a variable that has some text as its value, I can do a whole bunch of methods, whole bunch of things with it. Okay, and someone in Python has already written code for those things. You don't have to write programs for it. Okay, and I'm going to basically pick upper. Okay, and I need to complete the open bracket, close bracket. Okay, and now forget about the print statement. All you need to know is I'm printing both the lower s, right, which is hello here, and whatever the new value of capital S is. Okay, I'm printing capital S. So let's run the code again, and you'll see that it's basically saying the small s is still hello, hasn't changed. But you notice that now we have a new variable, capital S, right, that has the value HELLO in caps. The method upper helps us do that. So again, it's a useful shortcut to know. So two shortcuts: Shift Enter to run a code, to run code in a cell, and use tab to pop up methods of an object. Okay. And of course, you can feel free to navigate your way around these different options. Okay, so file basically allows you to create new notebook. If you remember in the previous screen, I'm going to go back here. You create a new notebook here, and of course, you can also do that here. New notebook Python. Okay, and if you already have a notebook here like this, perhaps you want to save this, make a copy, right? Maybe you want to rename. Okay, you want to save. And you can also download this and convert it to different formats. The default is a notebook format, IPYNB. Okay, but I can definitely convert this to an HTML file, PDF file, and so on. Okay, so you have these multiple options available. When you have a moment, you can take a look. We won't be using all of this. This might be useful. Insert cell above and below. If you want to add new cells in the middle of an existing, notebook, and you can do things to cells. Okay, you can run all of the cells at one shot if you want, right? And here's an interesting thing to know. Kernel is basically, I'm just going to go back to this page here, the introduction. Okay, this is basically a computational engine, okay, that executes the code contained in the notebook document. Again, remember that we are using Jupyter Notebook because it's easier to use. It's better than working directly from, let me go back here, from the terminal, right? Or a different editor that's not as user-friendly. So in this case, what's happening is that we have a front end and we have a kernel, right? A computational engine that's executing the code we type in the cell, okay? And in this case, we have a kernel that executes Python code. And of course, there are also other kernels. You can have a similar setup, Jupyter Notebook for R. You can have Jupyter Notebook for a programming language called Julia. So there are different possibilities when it comes to Jupyter Notebook. In this class, since we use Python, we are running Python code. Okay. So this is the introduction to Jupyter Notebooks. Thank you.